it's something we need to look at, and then we'll design a Hancock Gundersen bar for the new area, for the new kids on the block. Yes, we'll do that. Get back to the roots, old roots.
I just like the way you just started that. The Hancock Gundersen bar for the new kids on the block.
And all the kids would just say, "Oh, fucking hell, they live in another fucking time zone than we do. What are they on about? What are they on about?
What do they know?"
The next thing would be an overfunding bar, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, there are a few guys that could probably use that too, you know. The ones that got the bad habit of sitting too far back in the seat and then not sitting up on it. Yeah. We need to get the Obi bars.
The Obi bars.
The Obi bar. You can have the Gundersen, you can have the new kids on the block, or you can have the Obi bar. Sounds like it. And on that note, I want to welcome Erik Gundersen to the Real 45 podcast.
Thank you very much.
And Helle Gundersen sitting across the table from me.
Thank you.
I should have pressed record on this when we started having this conversation before, because there was some valuable information.
What's that?
But now it's even better that we didn't, because we leave everybody, make them curious about what we just talked about. So all they got when I pressed start there was the Hancock Gundersen bar.
But see, Greg,
that's all they got.
Greg, I've come to an age when you tend to forget things. So what were we on about?
We were just talking about the horses, and remember back in the day, mate.
Back in the day, mate. Yeah,
it was a good old time. Yeah. It was. So we're sitting out here in Tjæreborg, where you guys live, a most really beautiful part of the world here in Denmark. And I always say I'm going to come and visit you guys, and we're going to catch up on old times. Excuse the wind if the wind is blowing a little bit, but we're sitting outside.
It always does on the West Coast anyway, Greg.
It does.
Yes.
Part of the scenery.
It is part of the scenery. Yeah. It is, for sure. And we're having a nice cup of coffee. Erik's got his shirt off, and I'm admiring his tan.
Oh, thanks, Greg. First time in 35 years I've had a tan.
Yeah. And you're sexy too.
Thank
really
you, Greg.
Sexy like that. Yeah.
We're not talking about the man boobs.
Yeah.
I'm putting the shirt on now.
He said, "I still got my six pack in there somewhere."
And Greg, also when we, it's so nice you're making the effort to come out here, Greg. Especially like yesterday, you came. We were talking about this that you had to do the practice and the time for you to go from here to Horsens, and we could have spent hours and hours and days on talking on things, and then when you called this morning, I was cleaning my car, getting ready for Horsens with a wet rack, as I always do. You remember that? And blowing out the dust. That's why when you came in the car, Greg, I said, go in, because all the dust would go back in the car again. But
this is the time where our body, and you see something hasn't changed from the time when you came and stayed with us in 1990, has it?
No.
When you inspected the floor in the workshop to see if you cleaned it all right. And you were standing there, shaking,
It's just the wrinkles and the hair colors that's changed, really.
Yeah. For some of those people out there, not for us.
Not for us, no.
We haven't changed one bit.
No.
And Helle just reminded me of that darn floor.
Oh, shit.
That plastic floor with the little holes in it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So as awesome and clean, because it was white and yellow.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe black and
No, it was white and yellow.
White and yellow.
Yeah.
And we learned how to clean, but the one thing you learned how that you had the vacuum, and you were trying to put the vacuum over all the holes to suck up all the stuff underneath. Because to take all that up and do it properly was a job.
It was.
That was a job. And
We did that, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah.
Oh, you guys did. You and Billy did. I was just directing you to how to do it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I actually got a photo, of... I don't know if it's your Bill, but standing with the vacuum cleaner, and Erik's in there, hands around the back, inspecting it.
Would I do that?
Did I do that? You were terrible.
Was I?
Yeah.
And we had Michael, too.
Yeah.
Hansen.
Michael.
So he was, we had him kind of like making sure we did it right, because he was already under the
trained.
thumb.
Yeah,
He was well trained.
He was well trained.
Yes.
So he had his hands behind his back, too. It was going...
Oh, there was two of them. Poor thing.
The shoes on the other foot.
Get these small American boys to do the work. Oh, it's not fair, really, but...
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, you really damaged us for life. Yeah, you really did. It was so
Sorry
awful.
about that.
It was so terrible.
Sincere apologies.
I think the best part about it was that year. We're talking about 1990.
Yeah.
So this is a year after I it's my second year in
Yes,
England.
yeah.
It was,
And it was the first year for Billy Hamill.
Yeah.
So I had the benefit. I'm going to back up a little bit now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
You did that.
So my first year, 1989, I had the option to come. If I go, I'm going to go 1 year back, 1988.
Yeah.
Because people know this story, but now we get to sit and talk about it. We don't really get the chance to do this, so we'll just throw a few things out there and make it quick. 1988, I get a phone call from Bruce Penhall that Erik Gundersen is, obviously you guys are in Long Beach for the World Team Cup.
Cup,
World
yeah.
Team Cup, you were there?
Yeah.
With Colin Pratt.
Yes.
And Colin has made the approach to see if you guys want to come over at the end of the season and take a kind of a trial ride for Cradley.
Yeah. In 88.
In 88.
Yeah.
So this is you guys were there in, what was that, in August or September? When
August it would have been, I think.
August.
So it was before the World Final, right?
Yeah.
Before you went back to win your title in Voyance.
Yeah.
I think so.
It was. Yeah.
So it would have been something like that. So you had, yeah, exactly. And then we met Colin. Mm-hmm. Bruce introduced me to Colin there in Long Beach, and then we started talking about everything. And as it turned out, both myself and Billy came to Cradley in the end of that year. So you went back, you won the world. You guys smoked us first of all in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
sorry
you,
about
like in good. Yeah. Are you really?
That track was so fantastic. I remember
that's your favorite track, isn't it? You know,
the
you've
best
said
track
that.
I ever ridden in the whole of my career was Long Beach. On the night when it was watered down and the atmosphere there and the banking coming into the third corner, it was like long tracking a little bit. You know, the style, and you could just hook it up on the dirt line. And, it was fantastic.
I remember watching you long track it there.
Yeah.
You were so tucked on the straightaways, as far back on the bike, and just you were small too, so you were like
down
aerodynamic.
Oh, it was fun, unreal. It was. You've ridden it yourself.
Yeah.
You know. How did you compare it to tracks that you?
At that stage, that was so early in my career. I loved it. My dream was always to ride there because I saw you guys come there in '85 for the World Team Cup, and we had our.
How
American
old were you then? In '85.
85, 15.
Oh,
15. Yeah.
Only 2 years older than Wilbur, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I look, that's what I mean. I see Wilbur and I'm like, I'm seeing myself all over again.
Yeah, you
know,
must
and just
do.
going, oh my gosh. So every time I want to tell him, no, don't do that, do that. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's coming back.
It is.
So 85, you guys came there. And I remember that there were some very young fellas in those teams back in the day, from the English team, the Swedish team. You know, you had Jimmy Nielsen, you had Tony Olsen.
Yeah.
And then Denmark, you guys, in 85, you can correct me, but it was you and Hans, Tommy. No, Bo Peterson.
Bo Peterson, yeah. And Preben Eriksson.
And Preben, right.
Yeah.
So Tommy, was he there in 85 too?
Yeah. Tommy would have been there in 85, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you look at that team and the era, Denmark in the 80s.
Yeah.
You showed me on the World Team Cup, or the trophy that you've got in here.
Yeah.
And you look at the previous years, and then it was the 80s. There was a lot of Denmark.
There was.
It was.
Yeah.
The guy who did the inscription on that silver plate, you know, he just sat there every year and I said, I'll just put Denmark in. I said to him, you know, just do the next 6 times, it'll be fine. And that's what happened. No. No.
He's saying that
Yeah.
it didn't really happen like that, but yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
It did happen.
Just saying.
Sorry, Greg. So in '88 with
In '88,
Yeah.
was it 85 the first year when you guys came? I won't forget. It was 85 because didn't they make like the most impressive presentation for the American team? You guys all went out. You guys all went out on trucks and waved at everybody like
Yeah.
And then the American team came out with like
all the girls.
Clydesdale horses and stuff. And
and it was fantastic.
You were
It was
locked
the
in the
first-
changing rooms, weren't you? It was drama, big time.
That
I
was-
remember this.
Yeah.
It was the first time that we sort of saw the razzmatazz around the sport, which was unreal. You know, we were not used to that kind of presentation with girls and colours and music and the way that the
proper
announcer and it was fantastic. But we were all the other 3 teams. I think that would have been Sweden. Was it Czechoslovakia? No. It was Sweden, England, America and Denmark, of course.
Yeah, I was looking at you're right.
So we were all sat on truck getting presented, and then out came
What do I know?
the American boys. It was fantastic. And then
You were a
we
bit
sort of thought,
gobsmacked, weren't you?
I thought, you know, when we were all gobsmacked, and like I thought, God, you know, if we win this, maybe we get taken out for the presentation, the prize giving ceremony with these girls. But and it all it all spurred us on, but that was at the final when we were all locked up in the changing room. We had a team talk with Ollie in there. Ollie was our team manager, and like and somebody locked the what do you call it? It was like a garage store kind of thing.
That's right.
And we couldn't get out, and like. And Ollie says, "Just calm down, boys." And it was like 10 minutes before we had to go on the parade, and Bo Peterson, he went berserk. Because he had like claustrophobia or something.
Oh, okay.
And he said,
"Oh,
get me out of here!" You know, and he started kicking the door. You know, he said, "Just calm down. We'll be all right. You know, they're not going to run the meeting without us. You know,
right? Someone's going to come looking for us eventually."
Yeah. So, and that did happen as well. So then we got out. We got a bit.
Well, we know.
We got a bit sort of all tensioned up, and wow, you know, did they do this on purpose? I mean, Bruce was there, team manager, together with.
Was it Oxley or
no?
John Scott.
John Scott and Bruce was, and I was thinking. Oh, we were thinking maybe they did this on purpose to get us all, you know, nervous or. And I remember we were parked next to Bobby. Bobby was not. I think he was quite close to me, and I said to Bob, "Did you do this on purpose?" And he was smiling at us, you know. And I thought,
"Damn you!"
and another thing that I remember that from that final, if I can just quickly tell that, it was the razzmatazz that was around the American boys in the pit, and. It was like Indians and cowboys shouting and screaming and that. And we were not used to that. Ollie would sort of get us going, "Come on, boys, we can do this," and blah, blah. But Bruce and John Scott and people around, I mean, it was just a razzmatazz. There was so much noise in and around us, everybody in the pit. And it just got us in a mood that, oh, we've got to beat this. We've got to beat them the way that they're behaving and doing. And like my mechanic, Steve, which was just working really hard, and then Prep and Ericsson was up on the track. There was a rerun, and the clerk of the course came over to what was the name of the clerk of the course now? He was such a nice guy, and he came over and said, hang on a minute, boys, we're not ready yet." You know, he was getting the message for them to go out, and Steve pushed Prep and Ericsson just a couple of meters for him to start the bike, and that's when he pulled the cutout, and Steve, you know, he's quite a big fella.
I remember him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, Steve, and he was really quite big, and some security guy, because he started, don't you pull that cut off lead off, and then the clerk of the course, he just called some security guys, and in came these two really huge security guys, you know. And
of course, it's America. They had to be big, right?
Yeah, they were big, Greg, and they lifted Steve out. You know, his feet was just toes, you know, like this out of the pits, and they took him out of the pits area. And he wasn't allowed to get back in because he had been abusing the language, or, you know, they thought he was threatening or something, which he wasn't. He was such a nice, calm, collected kid. But it was all the tension.
You can picture it.
But just imagine Steve, because he did weigh a bit, and like his toes was just dragging across. And the next day, after we had won the final, I'll be quick now, Greg. I can keep talking about.
No.
And then the next day we were at the motel. We were all staying, and we had been partying a bit with Ollie, and we were all there having a good time. And in came Ollie, and he said, "Guess what, boys? We made the Los Angeles Times, the newspaper, and that's huge to make that." There was an article. and it was all about the drama that Steve had. And in the write-up it said. Denmark won the World Team Cup at Long Beach, but there was an incident where a Danish rather overfit mechanic had
carried out the pits.
Rather overfit.
A rather overfit mechanic, and Steve was just sitting there, with his cheeks all blank, and it was so funny. But we had
at the time it was like it was drama.
It was big drama, but it was fantastic.
Looking back and thinking about it and having a good laugh.
Sorry, Greg, that was a sidestep on what you were on. You came there with, and we were talking with Colin.
That's what it is.
We were talking about with Colin.
No, but this is the whole idea is to get it to hear this, because these kind of things. When I was 15. I remember all the drama. I remember now when you say it, you guys getting locked in the
locker room.
The locker room there, and it's like the American team. If they, how dumb they would have been to try to do something like that, thinking that they were going to scare you guys.
Yeah,
right?
it was probably just a guy locking it up, and
or someone else around trying to thinking that they were going to scare you. Like the American guys were going like, oh, "Come on, you guys, you know what?"
Yeah, it could have been.
It backfired if they did.
It did. We had a great time,
but it was fantastic. It was a final that when just going to America at that time when it wasn't the first time I'd been, but it was the first time we'd been there racing. And for all the things that was organised for us with, I think it was like with Harry Oxley had organised everything with the bikes being brought over, and Barry Briggs was involved, and to have our bikes flown out. It was the first time for us to try all these things. It was in the sun.
And Briggo was pretty heavily involved with that whole organization.
Big time
too.
involved with Harry at that time, I think, and the FIM.
Okay.
To get all the logistics organised. I mean, it was 3 teams from Europe going into to Long Beach. To do all that at that time was big.
It was.
I mean, unpacking our bike. I remember, sitting in the sun, and we're all going to Disneyland and Knoxbury Hill,
Knoxbury
Farm, and going to the beach at Long Beach. It was big, Greg, and Long Beach. That's where the Grand Prix, the Formula One was. We were riding at Long Beach. I mean, it sounded really good, didn't it?
It was good.
Yeah,
it was.
And
it was a big deal. And now these days, you just fly around the world.
And
doesn't matter, pack your bikes in a crate and off you go.
And we're going to Auckland, or we're going to Melbourne, or we're going to wherever.
Yeah.
I remember we were talking about also, hearing about. Was it the Veterans Station?
Long Beach Veterans Station.
Yep. And remember we were talking about what kind of track is it going to be? Is it going to be like the small one, the Custom Aces, and is it going to be a small American track? And then when we got there and saw the size of it,
we got this.
We got this. And I mean, it wouldn't have been much of an advantage to the American guys to, I mean, if I know that they had rules that the track had to be, I think, 320 meters or something. But still, the track at Long Beach, I think it was near 400.
It was pretty big.
Yeah.
It must have been.
I also remember the first time we were pushed out for the practice. Jesus Christ, it was nice. I mean,
those long strides and the drifting corners. The radius of the corners was so nice, and it was banked just enough.
I still see that it's on YouTube. You can go in and watch the finals there, both from '85 and I think the one from '88 was. I had a race with Sean Moran, and he rounded me, and he came up underneath me and took me off my line. It was such a race from Sean. Brilliant riding, and it was just fantastic.
But that track offered so much. It was quite safe. It was quite wide.
Yep.
You could go inside. You could go outside, depending on the dirt line, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Sean was spectacular around there. His style suited it.
Yeah.
And then you get someone like Bobby, who wasn't probably not as much of a big track, that kind of a big track style. Mm-hmm. But his gates, his gating, won him. I mean, he's still in the U.S. still beating guys because his gating techniques are just they're ridiculous. They are.
They're nearly as good as yours, Greg.
I would I'll have to go against you on that one.
Just say thanks very much.
No, but yeah, you're right on that. He always used to have that, both his reactions and his feeling for when the tapes are gonna go. He would always, when you look at Bobby, way back as well, he would always he wouldn't roll at the start, but it just seems like he gets that split second where he gets things going forward, and the tape will rise for him. You know, some people have that.
Yeah.
You know, that feeling.
And you can, I can see, people can't see you doing your feeling here, but
it's a bit like when you go up to the tapes in the Grand Prix, and I said to Helle, you watch this now, Greg's going to go up, and he goes like this. I love that duck wing movement. You go whack whack, and I know why you're doing
water
it.
off a duck's back.
And it's such a good thing that you do. I tell my kids, look at Greg, because it's a kind of a thing when you get your shoulders down, and instead of you tense up like this just before the green light goes on, we get into the technical thing. No,
we're back into the Hancock or the Gundersen Hancock bend.
Yeah, that's the one. But Greg, that movement you do there, it's fantastic. It's what makes you go pretty quick out of the start, I would say.
When it goes,
I never used to do that. But I needed to do both shoulders. I went.
You did a double quack?
Yeah, double quack. You only do the
I just throw one winger.
The one winger.
That's because I got a bad shoulder on the other side. So
I was just going to say.
It doesn't quack like it used to.
No, it'll pop out.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell. I'll do the Gundersen one, and I won't be able to make this stop now. Sorry. Go the other way. Sorry, Greg.
Yeah, but you weren't too bad out of the start.
No. But
with the double quack.
No, but it is all about getting your upper body relaxed just before you tense up, isn't it? So tonight I'm gonna watch you at Horsens do the single quack. You can do it 3 or 4 times if you know. Then I'll know that's a signal. He sends me the signal now.
This is gonna be good.
Yeah. And every time you do it, I've got the horn on my mobility scooter go wham wham. And then people will say, "What are you doing that for? Why don't you just watch it every time?"
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah, you figured it out.
It's secret messages. It's the FIM and FBI and the CIA and they're all watching us.
Is that how the FIM got its name?
FBI,
CIA, FIM
and the FBI.
It's getting out of hand.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want to get all political.
No. No, that could take a long time.
Yeah, we'll save that for another episode.
We'll do that.
Yeah. That'll be episode 10,005, and we're on episode 38 now.
Yeah.
So we got time.
How can you like that, obviously?
Yes.
The starting, while we're on the subject,
was you meeting Colin Pratt at the 88?
It goes back to there, yeah. That's how it all started, right? With Colin. He showed me the way we used to do it, mate. We used to do it like this. He probably had the Ovi Funding bend.
He would have
Colin
had that.
on his time, right?
Yeah, we can go back and have a look at some pictures. I'm sure he had that.
He was the white line fever too, right? He wasn't the king of the white line?
I mean, the tracks at that time only needed to be like 2 meters wide because Colin would stay on that white line all the time. And Ollie and a lot of the rides. They never moved off, did they?
No.
But when you look at how the sport had developed over from like 60s, 70s, 80s, that's really when the American riders came in. Bruce Penhall.
And Scott Autry before too.
I mean, Bobby, when he came, was also a white line kind of rider. He never liked to move up, but he did try it and do it. But it was Penhall that changed. When you look at the sport, how it's developed over those decades, it is Bruce that brought that racing line out from mid-track and way out to the fence and scraping the boards around and making the sport so much more spectacular.
Yeah, that was all Bruce, wasn't it? You've said that so many times.
So, what about Scott Autry? That's too much before your time, though, huh?
No. I rode against Scott.
Did you?
Scott, he's a wonderful guy. I keep in touch with Scott through Facebook and that. We write to each other and comment each other's. I'm not on Facebook much, am I? Not so much. But anyway,
this is the time where I don't say anything.
Scott was a rider. He was at Exeter at the time at the county ground, and like he was unbeatable around there. He was, but he was such a clean rider, and Scott was a good trapper, riding mid-track, but also dirt line. But he was more of a classic riding style, so neat on the bike. He's not very tall either, same size as you and myself. And but what I liked so much about him, I think he was from Texas, wasn't he, Greg?
Yeah, I think
originally, and but he was a different. He was not like a California boy kind of thing. There was not so much razzmatazz around him. He went steady with things and like very, very thoughtful talking guy. He was mellow and he had the world final at 78 when I think he came third at Wembley.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
And I always admired him for his. You could see he was American and like with the way he bikes and his color schemes and all that. I loved it. He was clean in a way that, and like I had a lot of good races with him. Especially I remember one time he had moved up from Exeter to Swindon, which meant that he could ride in the Midland Riders' Championship final at Coventry, and I had won that I think 2 or 3 years on the trot, and we were. I qualified again for the final, and I had a breakdown, and Scott won it. And I remember the thing and he said, "Well, I'm really happy I won this championship, but I wouldn't have won it if Erik hadn't had his Indian fails, which." But I've always loved that guy, and still do, and I think he's. And I saw he got in the trailblazer Blazers Hall of Fame thing, which I thought was fantastic.
So cool.
And I followed the whole induction. Is that what it's called? Induction leading up to it, the days before, and all the pictures came on, and it was wonderful to see that. Yeah.
The cool thing is how many people turned up for that thing too. That showed up. Even Midlow flew over from England.
We saw the pictures.
Yes,
Speedway
he did. Yeah,
so cool. And I mean, Midlow. I don't know when the last time he was in California. I think it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
And when I saw on Facebook that he was there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Yeah. It's so cool. And I think he tried to catch up with as many people in that short time as he could.
Yeah, it was fantastic for people to.
Well deserved, wasn't it?
And it was so well deserved, and I'm sure that he had a great time there. But then again, he's still such a, what do you call it, Greg? He's like...
Midlow, you mean? Or
no, I mean Scott.
Yeah.
He's just such a mellow guy, that he wants things to go
he's
quiet.
He's a humble guy.
He's humble
in his approach
and
to
I remember
things and people.
Telling me about it, him flying helicopters, and they were farming... cattle, beef stuff out there where they were, when they had all the what do you call it, the cows and all that, farming. Where they were moving them on the different grazing areas by helicopter, which. When we like in Denmark, you see a farmer getting the cows across the road for the next strip of grass, and then you think,
it's a different dimension.
America is big. That they move their cows by helicopter. Then we're talking big.
Yeah, that's a big sheepdog.
It is a big sheepdog. Barking all the time. But,
maybe he has the quack quack button on the helicopter. He's going quack quack, and they keep moving. Doot, doot. That's a pretty interesting way to move your cattle for sure. I never thought about that.
After this talk, I think the word dog is going to have a completely different meaning, isn't it?
Yep. The word dog.
The dog.
Yeah. Well, if we go, it's a good thing we don't have a lot of time today because that might turn into the dirty dog later on. We wouldn't want to go. We wouldn't want to get to that one. Yeah,
I would.
Yeah, it's better to start that one now, right?
Yeah.
No. So where were we? 1985? No, 1988. In Long
Greg,
Beach.
we keep
we're going to go back to 67 or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Greg, we keep moving out of the thing that you started off with 10 or 15 minutes ago, from when you met Colin Pratt. Why we seem to take the side roads?
Yeah, but they're the fun ones.
They're fun ones.
Are
Really
they?
hard.
Yeah. So,
Okay, Greg. Now I'm going to keep quiet now.
We're coming up to there's another junction coming up here now, and I'm
Spaghetti
gonna
junction.
turn left. Of course, this could be Spaghetti Junction. Of course, I'm gonna turn left because we don't know how to turn right. So,
Nope.
how old were you when you started Speedway?
I was 12. See, I followed some neighbors not far from here that were riding at our local track here. That would have been in around 71, 72 when Ollie won his first world final at Wembley. No, at Gothenburg. And then the local guys here started riding out in Esbjerg, and I just went out there with them and running around, cleaning the bikes for them and racking them down and doing a bit like Wilbur's doing now, you know.
Gotcha.
Keeping every eye and ear open to what is this and what is, am I going to be on this ride in my life as a speedway rider? And like I idolized Ollie, and also some of the local riders here. I love the smell, the drama that was involved in it, which was different in those days. But still, for a little kid to follow these riders and having a dream, which every day I was thinking about it, going to school, all the drawings I did and all my paperwork at school. I don't think I paid much attention to what the teachers said and that. I was just thinking Speedway, 24 stop 7, and
I think I recognize that.
yeah, you recognize that. Yeah, and it was you could see it in my grades at school also that I wasn't paying much attention, and my marks, what have you. Yeah, but to do that at the time, I then found out that at the time Denmark started up on the 50cc scene at the time, building a smaller junior bike, which I was then able to do in '74, riding in Esbjerg and riding down at Tjæreborg, where Tommy Knudsen was as well, and Hans was up top of Denmark, and we were doing all these things. But it wasn't until '76 when I moved up onto the 500 so that I was on the same competitive equipment as the rest of the boys. Of course, Greg, in those days it was too well the hours we were riding. The four-wheel came in onto the scene in '75, '76, and then I moved up and I started on 576, and the year after I won the Danish Championship in Vojens on a 15-point maximum on a 4-valve Neil Street conversion engine, and that was sort of the stepping stone to go to England at that time. I was still working as a car mechanic. I had to finish my apprenticeship, and I had a call from Wolverhampton, Bill Bridget and Mike Parker promotion there, to ask if I had possibility to come over on a trial. They would like to see me, which I couldn't do at the time, but eventually I did that in 78, and then I did Leicester, Wolverhampton, Birmingham, Coventry. Really, I wanted to go to Coventry, but it wasn't possible because Alf Busk was there with Ollie and Tommy Knudsen. So I came to Cradley. And Ollie said to me at Wolverhampton at one night, I was there on the second half, and at that time, and I flew around the tracks there, doing okay, and like Ollie said to me, I would love to have had you at Coventry, but I can't. But if you go and sign for any of the Midland tracks, you know, I think you should go to Cradley, because he'd already at that time seen Bruce developed to where he came from, and the track at Dudleywood was a track that invited you to both being able to make starts, but also being able to come from the back and therefore develop into a really all all-round rider. You know, being able to ride both lines and outsides and also, although Ollie and I mean Coventry and Craigie always had those ding dong meetings and a love-hate relationship kind of thing. The people at Dudleywood was I mean the fans there was just absolutely fantastic, which you yourself have been experienced over so many years, and the promotion there was sort of they took you in as one of their own, and like for me when I came over, Greg, I couldn't speak any of the lingo, any language, only from like you learn at school, but to come there and then come into the Black Country, learn the accent, which also
good school.
Yeah, and I got like they called me the Black Country Dane in those days. All right, old bap, you know, you learn to speak that. I've been all right, like, you know. Now I'm coming down to Dudleywood, mate. I can't wait till you're coming. It was good, Greg. And
You know the drill, don't you?
and I can when we sit, as we are sitting here talking about it, Greg, it's like going back and you can sort of, you can both smell and you can feel it when you go down Dudley High Street and on a Saturday afternoon at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and you see in the shops all the people walking in and out, and you knew you were in the black country. You could smell it, you could hear the noise from the steelwork going bang bang bang, and the smell, that sweet kind of smell, and the coal. And going up to
and Carol's pork sandwiches.
Yeah, but like
I think we need Craig here to do the Craigie accent, don't we?
But
we'll have that podcast reunion one day.
Oh, yes.
But what I'm thinking also is like when you went up to Wood Road and you turned right into the stadium, and I mean it was a rundown place. I mean the place was not a big fancy setup, but it was so friendly, family kind of thing. You felt so comfortable there, and the backing you had from the supporters and the whole setup there made it so that when you got pushed off, and the pit gate or the gate by the fence was closed behind you, you knew you were not alone because you had like 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people out there with you on your back seat kind of thing, because they were with you coming up to the start line. You could look through the wire mess and all the people would be there with the program boards and the scarves, green and red and white, and come on now, Bap, you know, and it was just, it lifted you.
Yeah,
like you have experienced yourself all those things. And I think when we look back in our careers and the success we've had, Greg, that's where we made it, because we made it there. And when I look at that picture that I showed you yesterday of all 5 of us, and we were all there with the World Championship trophies and in our different decades, it's all in colour. Thank God it's not in black and white.
Yeah.
But it's all in colour.
We're so young.
And what it does is the picture that Jeff Davies made for us, and like, you got the hammer in the corner.
Yeah.
And it just says everything. It says everything because you see all the glamour on that picture, which is beautiful. And then you think, it's all happened at Dudleywood Road, on Craigie Stadium, that old run-down place, which it's all happened and developed out of that. I think that's a fantastic story, really.
You got that picture of yourself, Jano Peterson, Billy Hamill, myself,
and Bruce.
Yeah.
It is
like, and then the hammer.
And
the hammer on the corner. I think it just says everything.
Yeah.
In what the sport has, just imagine what the sport over so many years has. All 5 of us, let's say, given back to the sport. The sport's developed out of our success also in the World Championships and all that. The way that we have behaved or misbehaved in the sport or whatever. The way that we
dirty dog.
Yeah, the way that we've sort of carried the burden, on our shoulders, the championship, and the way that we've all learned from each other. We've all taken things in that made us think or think deep about how are we going to be a champion for the next 12 months before the next final on the Grand Prix as it is now. And we've all learned from each other. We've taken things and bits and bobs from each other, but it all comes out of greatly.
Yeah.
In a way. And I think it's all from our hearts and our love for the sport that we have become hopefully good ambassadors for the sport, good ambassadors for Speedway and outside of it. And there's so many things happening in the different areas and in the world, but still we can still say we can come back to that and still learn from it, because when we talk about it, I mean, I can feel it in myself as we're talking about, and that's because it means everything.
Like you and Helle too, you guys coming at such a young age, so it wasn't just the developing in the sport, like you said there, it was developing as people, life and lifestyle, and
yes.
I mean, we went from kids to adults.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good. That is, yeah. We went from kids to adults in that.
We almost went over the top of your house with an umbrella.
And that is so.
That was the umbrella almost taken off.
That is so true, Greg. We came from kids, and like when you came over, I mean, you were only a kid when you came, and like.
But it was the same for all of you, wasn't it? I mean, you were just like 18, 19, 20, you know, when you came over into a completely different country. I mean, you and Billy just moved out of home, and so did you, and I came a couple of years later. And it's like growing up, you know.
But is it any different today? No, it's not. Not if you come into it with.
Can I just butt in here?
Yeah.
I think it is a bit different today. And there's nothing wrong in that. It's just the different way of, I mean, how many 18, 19-year-olds gets on the boat in Esbjerg with 50 quid support, no car, a couple of bikes, some toolboxes, and that's it. And maybe didn't even have a car.
Maybe just one bike.
Maybe just one bike, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but so I mean, there's nothing wrong with the way it is today. It was just a different time, you know. I mean,
we live in a time now where, in a material world,
there's a lot more money going around these days. Yeah, than in them days. I mean, Ollie came over; he didn't have nothing. You didn't have nothing at all.
No, but still, from if you come into any sport, we can only talk like but in any sport, and you want. If you have a seed within your heart saying that how can I get this to grow within you, and you got this desire for having success or having a dream. I have a dream to become a world champion. We're talking. I have a dream. I have a dream. I love that. I have a dream.
Martin Luther.
You are the
And you have a dream. We all have dreams, but I think. And every kid has the possibility to have a dream, but all the kids today are just they're disturbed by so many things all the time that if you really look into themselves, it's hard to maybe find that one seed that's gonna make the difference. So when we talk to kids these days. When we talk to kids these days, it's our responsibility to talk to them in a way that if we can ground them a little bit, you know, for them to sort of, you know, don't stress around all the things that you get disturbed by today, by all the different things that they are, because the world that we live in today does disturb. And that's why I see the difference in the kids that's having success in the sport, any sport they do, is that if they find within themselves and the desire and the will to wanting to do or to go in the footsteps of their dads or the heroes or whatever, I think that's what makes all the difference. It's our responsibility to say, kids, listen, ground them, and tell them stories, tell them tales about what it was like. And some of the kids will say to you maybe, you're old and what are you doing? But when you spend time and you really get in deep with them, that's where you can, I think anyway, that I found that in my work today with the kids here in Denmark, that it's guiding them, coaching them, guiding them to go in a direction in life where you get a hug, you can also get a pointed finger in what direction, because there's so many
possibilities.
Disturbing things around them with pressure, ambitions that are out of their hands. That could come from their parents, it could come from people around them, and it's a hard game. Speedway is hard, but it's not harder than to what you make it, and I think that coming back again to Cradley, to where we were all grounded when we came there, and we had the possibility to grow together, and that makes all the difference. And that's when we talk about genuine, honest people, and we all know that in sport it's professional, there's money involved because we race for points, and we all want to go up the steps and the ladders on the success rate to make it in any sport. So we need to go out and win. We need to win to become better, and but to sort of do it in a manner and in a way that you can all sort of have a good time. I felt at Cradley we all had that possibility, because none of us was allowed to you could reach for the sky and the stars and everything, but you were always in a way grounded to say, okay, tonight's a new meeting, new team we were against, and you had to do it in a way to and also when we look at the managers that we had at that time, Greg, with Dan McCormick when we first came over, and Pete Adams and Colin Pratt, different characters, but still they had the heart with them, and that's what makes all the difference, because
they were eating, living, breathing Speedway.
Yeah, and
that's true though.
Yeah,
it is so true. But and I still think it's the most important thing is for us to guide our kids in that direction, in whatever they choose and want to do in life, is to ground them at times, spend time and grind.
Give them time to develop. Don't
Yeah.
put all that pressure on all the time. Let them play.
We see.
Well, it's so important.
I see it so often here, Helle, with
enjoy
with
it.
kids.
Yeah,
I see
enjoy
so.
it. They just start off so early, and then all of a sudden, it gets way too serious. And
Another
they're like
thi- I-
13, 14.
Another
still
little
kids.
point here, Helle, is like when we look at what we're doing here in Denmark, our little system, what we do here and what they do in other countries, because a lot of countries say, look at what we're doing in Denmark with the youth academy program. We've had that for donkey's years, and but already here, and it has been for many years, there's the competitive is very high. We have league meetings for 50cc, they're 4 or 5 years old, blah blah blah, and it's too early. We don't play with them enough, and that's what you do, Greg, with your kids, and what you do. And I've seen it so many times. You take the play into the game, into the sport. You play, and when you play with kids, you can get the best out of them because they feel comfortable. They get their confidence within playing. Play with them. Don't put any pressure on saying you got to do this season, and then because then I've got it planned for you next season and the year after. No, you got to bring the play into it, and by doing that, you get the kids to have fun. Beside it, we all know it's a costly sport. We got to have it right. We got to do it right, and we got to spend time in the workshop getting everything ready for the next time we go out and compete, but also play. So if we put play first, and competition comes on itself, you know, and it's
and they put your own pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
The kids even do that, right?
and they can do that, and they can carry it as long as because if they got if the kids got their trust in their dad or the mechanic or whoever is around them, if they got that 100% heartbeat trust, then you can guide them and model them in every way in on their career or whatever. And I hate that word career as well, because they form their career themselves. It's not up to us to do that, but it's our responsibility 100% to guide them on their way, on their road. And I have done that with a lot of kids here and I've seen them go on different directions in whatever they do, and I let them go, you know, and let them do whatever they want to do. And I would, as soon as it's like walking on a plank, which is like 10 centimeters wide, and when we start it's 0.5 meter wide, and I narrow it in a bit, you know, to them, to balance their way of life and doing whatever they want to do.
It's interesting.
And like you start out, and you walk along and we play and we do fun, and then you can put and add a little bit more on in the steps there, and in the end you'll have them walking on a thin wire, maybe 10 feet up. We'll start on the ground first, and you can narrow it and you can height it, you know, or you can go back down again for them to get back in balance in whatever they do.
I think that's very important.
It is so important.
And everyone is different. Every kid is different. We were talking about this yesterday, weren't you, with your three? You know, I mean, they're all got their own. They all got their own individual personalities, and I think you're good at that, Erik. You know, spotting them. You know, because he needs a pointy finger like 3 times. This one don't even think about a pointy finger. You know, he needs a pat on the back, and it's seeing the difference in the different kids to make sure that you guide him the right way. You know.
For sure. So they end up walking on that thin wire.
In the end, confident, happy,
exactly.
Playful, and still full of life. You know, but focused on what they want to do.
Yeah, it is.
Because we're all different. Everybody's different. What's right for you may not be right for another one, but it's seeing the difference and working with that. I think that's very important.
And finding their way. Let them find their way.
Yeah, there's a saying, you know, somewhere, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, a fish can't fly and a bird can't swim. Well, some birds can, I guess, but, you know, it's...
Depends if it's a swimming bird.
A duck.
Yeah, duck. Quack, quack.
Comes back to the duck.
It comes back to the duck.
It does.
I'll go...
No.
Wings.
Our little Carl goes to a daycare in California.
Yeah.
At the Orange Coast College, which is right across the street from Coastal Speedway. He's been going to a daycare there, and it's called the Lab School.
All right.
So you have to get into it, you have to be... it's hard to get in. There's a waiting list usually, but we managed to get him in this year. And we went in there. It's one of, if not the only school daycare left in our whole area, or Southern California in my mind, that still has naturally made wood climbing bars and things like that. That's still original. And it's got like a grandfather rule that they can't touch it. If they do anything to it, then it has to be torn down. So they can only kind of modify, make sure that it's holds up.
Cool.
So it's all organic, basically, when you go in.
Oh, yes.
So, and the teacher there, I won't say names or anything like that, but the teacher there is an amazing guy that when you walk into the classroom, when the kids come in there, they have their routine. They have to go in and sign their name in, and then they get a name tag on their back, and then they go in, and they have to go wash their hands, put their backpack down first, wash their hands, and then they go up and they have to write their name on a little star.
Yeah.
And then they put the star up on a board, and on the board it's got a question, and you have to. It'll be a yes or no answer or something like that. It's like, have you ever been on a boat?
Oh.
And then they have to put yes or no.
Yeah.
And then when they're done from there, they have like work areas in the room, and there's an area for like putting things together, like puzzles. There's an art area. There's a kitchen area. There's an area for building blocks. There's an area for this or that, and just writing or whatever.
Wow.
And you walk in, and the kids just go where they want to go.
Wow.
So when the kids go to that area, they have other assistants and teachers around. So when the kid goes and sits down to start doing art, the teacher will just kind of come in, sit next to him, and start writing next to him, and kind of encouraging them. Hey, check this out. Hey, that's pretty cool. The same in all the different areas.
Yeah.
And what you just said, it's amazing how they form then, and then slowly they build up, and then they slowly throughout the day they end up doing things together as a group. Like this, and then the day's done.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And these kids walk in there. It's not sit down, do this, do this, do this, do this.
No.
They're shaping them and letting them
Yeah. Wow.
I think
discover
that
their own
Sounds
world.
amazing.
I think, Greg,
Jenny, my wife, found it originally
Yeah.
through her girlfriend, and now we've done it. We're sold on it.
Yeah.
I think, Greg,
But that's perfect.
we have a similar little Rudolf Steiner school. We have a school system here in Denmark, which was developed from art and it's so similar to what you're saying there, Greg. It's called Rudolf Steiner School. It is similar to what
They take.
Is this
they-
like the like a German?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
What do they call? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But that's what they basically do as well. I mean, they teach they teach the kids in different ways, and the learning process. I mean, some kids wouldn't know how to do math, if you taught them in a conventional way. So they sort of do it in a different way.
they play it into them
Yeah.
and make them develop and get the interest also in doing it.
Develop the areas
by
that
just-
they're good at, to build their confidence. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's pretty similar to what you're saying, and it's brilliant because you don't lose any kids as easy as you do in the conventional system. You sort of get them all in there.
It's quite, yeah. The way we got into this conversation is what he just explained, and the way you were talking about what you're doing, I just thought about my kids
Yeah.
and the school systems and how that just came up, and what you just said makes so much sense. And I'm like, you're doing the same thing. It doesn't matter what age they are.
No.
Nope.
You're just letting them seeing which he's going to be better here, he's going to be better there.
Yeah. It's like me. It's pretty simple, really, because you look at them and you meet to learn kids, adults, whatever, to learn them anything. You got to meet them where they are right
Yeah.
now at the moment, because if like everybody's different, and it's seeing the difference
Also, if you-
in people that makes the whole difference. There's a lot of differences, but it's meeting people where they are.
Yeah, some of Helle, as you're saying that, some of the points that meet them where they are today, right now, where we are now at this second or minute, could be too late tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's also for us to have us the grown-ups to guide and direct them, our kids or all kids in general. It's also for us to take the time. We need to be grounded. As I said, we ground kids. We need ourselves to be grounded,
That's
to
very
come down,
true.
to come down and spend the time and play and have it, because that time doesn't come back. It's now. It's right here. It's now this second. That time doesn't come ever back. And we can always say, "Oh, we'll do that later. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll do that next week or next month." No, you do it now and let them. So we ground them, but we've got to ground ourselves and tell the kids, "I'll ground you, but you make sure you ground Dad also."
All right.
Oh, Mom.
I need to go for a, what do you call it? I've had too much coffee.
Yeah. You got to do one of those?
Yeah, I got to do one of those. No, not one of those. Just one of. I just.
Oh. Well, you just go do that, and I'll carry on the conversation for a couple more minutes here, and then I'm going to leave you alone. But I had the benefit of living with Lance King for 1 year.
Oh, God.
So
I know what's coming now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I had that, and I always tell people that for me, he laid down, he installed all the software.
Yeah.
In that first year, so he put in so much software into me, based in Tamworth, where you guys were.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I got the whole feel for everything, and he pretty much laid it out and said, you should do that, you should do that. I've been there and I've done that. I don't want to do it with you, but I'll show you, and this is what I think you should do. And with some of the, as great as it was, you have the hard times, and sometimes, the hard times were, get up.
Yeah. Just
You
get out
can't
of
lay in
bed.
bed all day, you know? You're a typical youngster like you are. And he was amazing like that. And then he retired that year after showing me the ropes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the option, obviously through Erik's incident, and you guys decided you were going to stay in England for a little longer without selling up and moving back to Denmark to this great place too quickly. And through the opportunity for myself and Billy, two young teenagers, to come and live in your house and completely
It was fantastic.
like what could have given? I mean, people have heard the story over the years, but they hear it straight from you guys. What were you thinking to let two youngsters?
I think basically, what we were thinking, I don't know, but I think we always liked having people around, and we really liked you. I mean, we got to meet you, and we thought, what a great guy. We met your dad earlier, Erik, met your dad, and like, well, we needed life in the house, and what better way, to share it with you guys. So you always on about, it meant so much to us, having, letting us stay. But if we turned it, looking back, it meant such a huge. It was fantastic for us because we were at a different time in our lives. Eric just had this accident, and we weren't really ready to go home. And like it was just it was a life-changing thing, when he had this accident. And then you guys came in, and the house was full of life. And we were still in the game, and like we went to Cradley with you guys, and it was one of the best things we've ever done. What I was laughing about before was that when you started out this thing, with you guys coming to stay with us, was that when you told us this later on, you told Lance that you were going to stay with us. And Lance was going, oh my freaking God, do you know what it's like out there? They live, eat, breathe Speedway, it's up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
It'd be like the military.
Exactly. It made me laugh. It was so funny. Was it really that bad?
It was so bad. It was so bad. Hated every minute of it. That's why I came back to. I needed to clear the air and get this off my chest. So that's why I came now to. I just needed to talk about it.
I know. You're traumatized for life. Oh. No, it was great. We loved having you guys. It was fantastic. Really was.
You listened to Erik's story and your guys is elaborating on the kids and everything that happened there.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It comes back to that. You guys continued showing us the way. Billy had his first year there. I already had 1 year under my belt. Yeah. So we learned how to live, how to grow up.
Yeah.
We had the benefit of having you guys as kind of like our alternative parents to kind of steer us, put food on the table, to wash our clothes, and show us how to do it. We learned how to work, but the greatest thing I remember, and this is why we talk about it now, is that you guys had a lot of fun.
We did.
You know what? We did our work, but when the work, it was like, do your work. When the work's done, let's have a little fun.
We laughed.
Yeah, we laughed.
Yeah, we laughed.
And
we laughed and we cried, but we laughed more than we cried, didn't we?
Yeah,
absolutely. And there was always something going on. There was always a group of Danes or English or somebody coming by. There was always a party at the house. There was always something going on.
Yeah.
And I remember in this story, we always talk about it, but Billy and I were putting in a new radio in our van one night. And you guys had a few people over, and we had a glass of wine. We're in there, we're having a glass of wine while we're installing our radio. And Peter Ron came, and he walked in, and he looked in the window, and he goes, I remember when putting the radio in my van was more important than working on my bikes.
Oh, yes.
And we were like, what? And we looked at him and we cheered each other with a glass, and like, yeah, that's right. That's right. It's so funny. But, that was what I mean. It was just like there was so much great activity.
It's funny you saying that because we did have a good time, and there was always people around, and we did have a lot of laughs and parties and fun. But I guess we did do the work first and then had fun afterwards.
Yeah. Work first, and then we spent the time, and we wanted to be together. It wasn't so much that you closed your own door; you always sort of opened, and there was. I mean, with all the different people that was around, you could always go to somebody's house and have a good time.
Yeah.
And like, not that we raised 2, 3, 4 times a week. There was plenty of work to do.
Always, yeah.
But although, and again, we were young. You know, we did the night burners sometimes. You know, you work through the night or party through the night.
Yeah, it was all work.
It was all work.
All work, yes.
And
yes.
But it also, I think, it sort of made us aware that, and we knew that work came first, and it made us become adults, because you had to take responsibility yourself, you know, and knowing that tomorrow you're riding at Swindon or Leicester, you know, and you got to be prepared, you got to be ready for it. So.
Should I tell the story about the
No, not now. But
Halifax?
No, I'm nervous.
But yeah. But guys,
Moving on.
Moving on, because now I'm going to be your little boss now, and saying, Greg, you got an important meeting tonight.
Man, I was afraid of that.
You got an important meeting tonight. I mean, and you're coming into an age where. Don't you need a little nap this afternoon before you go to the races, or?
You know, I have my times, and sometimes I do those naps, and like we said, everybody's got their own thing. Mm-hmm. So if I go to sleep for too long, 10 or 15 minutes is good for me, a power nap.
Yeah,
I think those really work.
They are brilliant.
Are you
Otherwise, I go too deep.
So are you doing that in the pits tonight at Horsens, or are you...
In between heats.
In between heats, yeah.
Yeah.
In the interval.
And then that's when Helle comes up for a talk in between. And
could be.
And I say, I'll be right back, Helle. Just sit there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get the coffee.
Yeah. I'll be back in just maybe like 2 minutes.
Yeah. I'll take it back.
Taking it back, when you just left just now, Greg said, what made us take him, you know, say, yes, you could come and stay with us.
Yeah.
When they first came over.
What made us say yes to that?
Yeah.
He had no choice.
He had no choice.
No. I think we... Well, I mean, we had the room. We had a
big house, you know, plenty of room, and
we had plenty of room. No, it was only small, but the smaller places
the workshop was basically too quiet, wasn't it?
No, but the smaller.
We filled it up in a hurry.
You did.
No, but I think it was just having kids in, helping them out, and although you were from America, it didn't matter at that time. Didn't matter. You know, just having kids in and being part of seeing. I mean, I saw the talent that you had. Riding the bikes when you came over, I could see, wow, this could be interesting. And I think that made us say, yes, come with us a year, be with us, and then let you fly, you know. Come and let you fly and do your own thing.
And you met Uncle Bill earlier, didn't you, a couple of years ago?
Yes,
yeah.
and like, and we knew your family and the people around you and all that, and I knew that was really nice people, and for them to send their little kid across the pond to live in England and to live with a Danish family in England, you know, we had the responsibility also to make sure that we guided you in the right direction, and knowing that it would haunt and come back at us if we didn't, which it hasn't done in any way. But it's like catching a bird and let it fly, you know. And come on, boy, you can do it yourself now. And that's what you did. And that's what's so funny and heartwarming that you saying, Greg, at times when you sort of when your career started off then back in '88 and 89, 90, you know, when there is things that you still remember your time at Austria, where we all lived. You remember the things, small things happening in the workshop. We started off by talking about the floor panels and that. But and we can all, as we sit here, we can all picture it. We are there now. We are there.
It's good memories, isn't it?
You grounded us.
Yes.
And like you are making memories, and we are making memories day by day. If as you are,
but at the time,
an example in the best way we can think of by you making memories, and you've been making memories for so many years, and you're still making them. And to go back and say, this is where we came from, this is where things set off. And that's what I think is so important, as we were talking about kids, is to make sure that we tell them the memories and the things for them to take their own path, and it's so important, I think.
But at the time, I think it was like you just said, you knew Greg's family, and talked to him and met him, and Uncle Bill. But basically, I think it was just a thing you did. Everybody looked out for each other, and if you could help somebody, and if you did it, because we were all foreigners, living away from home, and like a lot of people helped us, when we came over, and it was just the thing you did. So it sort of came natural in a way.
Yeah, I think it did.
And ended up being a big bonus for us, because we were at a stage in our lives where we could need all the fun and laughter that we could get. And another thing is when you and Jenny lent us your house, and we went over 7 years ago, and met up with your mom again, which was fantastic. You got the loveliest mom in the world, Greg.
I'm lucky. Yeah.
Love Carol. And
so do I.
I know that.
Yeah.
And we sat talking, and like, oh, good.
Thank God for that.
And we sat talking about you guys coming over, and your mum, said like a few times, I was so grateful, they could stay with you guys, and like at that day, we brought Nana over 7 years ago, and we went and stayed for a couple of weeks. And she was like, was she 16, 17 or something like that? And it dawned on me, oh my God, if she moved out to a different country, how nice would it be for a family to take her in and look after her, and for us as parents to know that, she's in a home, where they're mainly sane. I think we are.
Within reason.
Within reasons, yeah. But
you got to be insane just to take someone in.
I know, I know. But it was, But I guess it was just something. It was just something you did.
Yeah.
Everybody stuck together in England, when we were there. We helped each other, and you guys moving in was fantastic, great.
Well, you guys, you did everything for us. You grounded me. You grounded Billy. You laid down the path, and you showed us how to walk that thin line with confidence. So
that's great. And here we are.
Thank you enough.
And here we are.
And here we are, sunny now. They're watering the track at Horsens, getting ready for you tonight, Greg. Big time. And
on that note, I'm going to say, let's go racing.
Let's go racing.
Let's go racing.
Thanks, you guys. I love you.
Love you too.
Welcome to Real 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hyped. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you. Inspiration like every day. Real 45, we gon' keep it live. I keep episodes on replay. Hey, Real 45. Yeah, Real 45. Show them how we do it, man. Yeah.